Well, David Higgins is the head of Interpol's Environment Security Unit, and he joins me live from outside that conference in central London. Also joined by Sabri Zain, Director of Policy with Traffic and Anti-Trafficking Organisation. David Higgins, this is such a depressing story. I mean, there are very few resources in terms of people on the ground to cover vast areas. Aren't the poachers always going to have the upper hand?
Well, I think that the gathering here today is demonstrating the global community's willingness to come together to actually change that tide against the poachers and put it back in the government's hands.
If this isn't a stupid question, who are the poachers? Are they just random individuals who see an elephant's tusks or rhino horn as a way of making quick money, or is it more organised than that?
Well, you have different types of tiers of criminality, and the poacher is really the lower level tier. Then you move up to regional distributors within one country or regional distributors across a number of countries, and then you look at the international distributors or traders. So you have different tiers of criminality, and the poachers are sort of your average community members, maybe low in money, and take on that opportunity.
Do you sense there is any link between the poachers and, say, some of the militia groups in Africa for whom poaching may be a way of raising funds to buy their weaponry?
With regards to militia groups, there's probably a stronger indicators to suggest such linkages, but with regards to, say, terrorism, really what we're seeing in the international policing and security community is, at the moment, it's just about indicators. Now we need to come together as governments and intergovernmental community to actually start assessing the evidence, the intelligence that's out there to prove it or disprove it once and for all.
Sabri Zain, do you think this is a battle that can be won? Sabri Zain, I don't know whether you can hear me. Do you think this is a battle that can be won? OK, I'll tell you what, I think we've got a problem with the sound there. Let me come back to you, David Higgins, because I guess I want you to answer the same question too, about whether you think this can be won.
Well, it can be won, and it has to be won. I mean, that's the challenge we've got before us as a global community. It's not just one country's responsibility or one agency's responsibility. So it's not a matter of can it be done, it must be done.
And what resources do you need? It's obviously, you know, politically you've got the Prince of Wales, Prince William backing the campaign. You've also got 40 governments there. But, you know, that's all goodwill in a conference in London. How do you translate that to action on the ground, and particularly maybe in China, where the demand for this is greatest?
I think what we need to start doing is collaborating with regards to our investments into the countries of need, but also supporting the countries with the resources they currently have to try and help them become more efficient and effective with the human resources, with the tools and services available to them. There's another angle that is sort of needs area of growth, which is really investigations. I mean, we need, as a global community, start investigating these crimes and these criminals all the way through, rather than just, there's a tendency to stop at the seizure, which is something that we see in the media a lot of seizures with great tonnage amounts, but now we need to investigate them, and they're transnational investigations, and they're rather complex by nature.
And presumably for the African countries where the poaching is taking place, this is a really important thing for them, because, you know, tourism, people coming to wildlife parks, is a big part of their, you know, gross national product.
I think that's something the global community can work with the countries where the wildlife exists, is starting to work with the communities to see the value in sustainable use of the biodiversity in their area, you know, linking it to tourism, getting the people from around the world to come and visit these sites, which generates revenue. So that's another key aspect that this conference has been considering as well.
Do you think that you need to deploy extra police forces, so from outside the country is concerned, from maybe policemen from outside of Kenya or outside Tanzania or outside Zimbabwe, to go and assist in this?
Well, that's what Interpol and our organisation is about. It's really about trying to break down those barriers, getting the police and the law enforcement community to speak, to engage, and basically not stop just because a border is there.
Right, and how easy is that to achieve?
It's a challenge. It's a challenge with all the other crime types. It's not unique just to wildlife. The drugs enforcement measures that are out there in the world that come across these same obstacles. Really, it's about following the appropriate mandates, sticking to them, but overcoming the obstacles that are presented.
And David, just a kind of quick final thought, if I might. You know, I don't know how many years you've been doing this, but how much worse has the problem got?
Well, I think we've seen in the last 3 years that this problem, particularly around elephants and rhinoceros, has gone through the roof, as I'd describe. And we really need to stop that aspect. And same with tigers, they're facing significant threats from criminal elements. But then more broadly, biodiversity, natural resources and the environment. No, this is really a new security risk to all of us around the world. We rely heavily upon our environment, biodiversity, natural resources.
All right. David, we have to leave it there. I'm grateful to you. Good luck. I'm sure everyone would wish you in the fight against the poaching. Global will be back very shortly.